Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Rolldown, the TFT Esports podcast, where we talk about everything from the grassroots to the pro scene, from the couch to the crown. My name is CLE, your host for the show, joined, as always, by the notable high roller Riftbound pack opener, Gangly. You have it in front of you, don't you?
I sure do. I sure do. Take a look at this beaut. And it doesn't do it justice. Hold on, I'm trying to get it to shine. There we go. Look at that reflection in the light. This beautiful Fiora.
He's holding like $600 in his hands.
Sheesh.
I mean, if I can sell it, anyone want to buy it? Hit me up. I was trying today. I posted on Facebook a bunch of places. No one wants to buy it. So yeah, any Riftbound overnumbered buyers out there, you know where to find me.
Want to see the coolest thing I pulled?
Oh, I just sold one of those today. It was one of the scraps that fell from the table of my box.
It's fine. It's fine. Anyway, we'll talk a little bit about that later. Joining us on the show is recent champion and kind of just a nobody in the TFT scene because this guy's only won a Tactician's crown and the TFT Vegas Open. Milala, welcome to the show. So happy to have you and have you be back on the winning side of tournaments.
Yeah, it's unfortunately it's been a long time, but it's always good to get a win. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And one of our TPC representatives, and also you guys are friends and you quote unquote study together. We'll talk a little bit about that. Ripple Overdrive, who's one of Gangly's favorites and dark horses for the TPC. Welcome to the show. Happy to have you.
Thank you for having me. I like being a dark horse.
I just want to say I think it's just evident of how little Jack believes in Ripple that you would even dare call him a dark horse. You look at Ripple Overdrive's career and you're telling me this guy's a dark horse? No, man. It's just disrespect episode after episode. It must be killing you to see him here. It must be killing you, Jack.
This is all because I painted him as the biggest Bobster hater in the world, and now he's trying to get revenge. This is how this is working. It's working, too. It's working. Anyway, we'll get into all of that on the show. This show is going to be full of a bunch of stuff. We're going to cover the Tactician's Cup that happened this past weekend. We're going to preview the Damacia Cup coming up, do our new episode of the Rolldown Rankings, and we're going to ask these guys how to succeed at the TFT Opens because these guys have had lots of success at those. So we'll talk about that. But before we dive into all that, we need to talk a little bit about some of the housekeeping things because Riot was very kind and sent Gangly and I both some Riftbound content. So Gangly, tell us about this YouTube channel that I pulled up. Also, I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
I've watched them all the way through.
Oh, really? Oh,
you see that red bar at the bottom? That means I watched it.
That's true. I mean, you very well could have just skipped ahead to make it look good. You're trying to butter me up. But yeah, so I imagine most people who watch this podcast know who Spicy Appies is, and a decent amount of you are probably familiar with the fact that I had a podcast prior to the Rolldown called High Roll Radio, where Spicy Appies and I talked all about TFT. We covered TFT news. We had people on. We would take hot takes from the community. Appies is an incredible TFT player, but he's been pretty public about how he's been transitioning out and wants to move more into the traditional workforce and also is doing more Riftbound stuff. He and I we're very close, and we really wanted to have some outlet to do something together since he's not doing TFT and I obviously am still super engaged. And so we decided, hey, why don't we just do a little Riftbound thing on the side? I have some product. He's a beast at the game. And so right now, while I'm in this season of having a bit more time outside of TFT than I probably ever will again, I've been doing a bunch of Riftbound stuff with Appies, and having a lot of fun with it. So I went to a pre-release event last week and made a vlog about it. And then last night, he and I sat down and opened up this box of Spirit Forged that Riot sent me. And my oh my, it was a box. All right, so Ripple and Milala, you guys don't play Riftbound, right?
Yeah,
I
really,
haven't.
Really.
Have you guys played any TCGs before?
Play Magic.
I played
Magic?
Yu-Gi-Oh at the high school lunch tables.
Nice. Okay. So the thing about Riftbound right now is that there's these problems with I don't know what's the word, like allocation, I guess, of rares, where some packs will be missing a rare card. Like you'll only get one rare when you're supposed to be guaranteed two. My box last night had 6 packs with 3 rares in them instead of 2, and 0 packs with only 1 rare in it. So some poor kid out there is like, for his 8th birthday, his parents got him a box of Riftbound Spirit Forged, and it's gonna have no rares in it. But yeah, I got very lucky. I got a ton of cards, and that video right there. Click this to win a Riftbound alt art. If you watch that video and you like and subscribe and comment, you can win this alt art Ezreal Dashing. I'll mail it straight to you. And so yeah, go check that out. Channel 3 Riftbound.
I also recorded some content, and I would like to talk about the difference in titles, which it used to be a different title. It was like I opened the best
A/B testing. That's why.
Oh, okay. It was like I opened the best Riftbound box ever. Mine is I opened the worst Spirit Forged Riftbound box. That's the story. It's me. I'm the one who got robbed. I'm the child.
Jack was the 8-year-old kid.
Yeah. We're holding hands. Star-crossed lovers.
I did pull some good stuff. I pulled a one of the most expensive cards in the set right now. So, but it's not like I mean, it is a rare card, but it's not like the most rare. Anyway, it was a good time.
Like
Thank you to Riot.
$200, dude. Come on, it can't be the worst. It's like $200 in one card is pretty good.
That was like the only thing. It's fine. We can talk
it's
about
more
that.
Than like 99% of the TFT player base has made in their career playing TFT.
Yep. It's true. Wait, Milala, how much did you make from your performance at the tournament this weekend?
1,500.
Okay, not $200.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
1,500.
Yeah.
We should do that someday. We should take a look at like the most winningest TFT players. Milala has to be up there. He's so rich.
Yeah, I mean, I would guess Milala is up there. I imagine anyone with 2 international titles has to be up there, right? But
and
also,
a Tactician's Cup win.
That's true. He is. I do just want to say he probably is like out. You still have to think about anyone who wins the Chinese circuit will have made more than Milala has made.
That's fair. But they are. This is a setup to talk about the Tactician's Cup this weekend. And Milala has a storied history. If you don't know who Milala is, Milala's won a Tactician's crown, so he's the set 10 champion. Also in that same set, won the Vegas Open. So as Gangly has made a video essay about, and probably will again at some point, the best set of all time as far as the results go and just the form that Milala is in. But it's been a little bit. So Milala, what has that looked like the past almost 2 years of, hey, obviously I was the best in the world at this point, and then kind of what happened? Where are we now? How did we get to where we are today, back to winning tournaments?
Yeah, I mean, I sort of talked about it with Dan after the Cup. I think after set 10, there was sort of, I don't know if it's like the public expectation or my own expectation. It's like after you win a Tactician's crown, it's sort of like you have to maintain that level. And then I think I went into, and then I guess like the fabled story is that Tactician's trials where I had to make it to the Cup to qualify to Worlds in set 11. I just like felt an insane amount of pressure. I don't think I ever like got past it. And I feel like you just have like an expectation that you have to compete at the highest level. And for me, like between set 10 and like all these sets up to right now, I guess it's like I'm just competing because I feel like I need to compete, not because I necessarily have fun competing. And then I think at some point the pressure just like overtook me, and now I only played this Cup because I wanted to, and I wanted to practice and get informed for regionals. So I think that's like where the major difference is from like this set compared to all the other ones.
And for context, you're saying you wanted to practice because you had already qualified, or you were essentially guaranteed your spot right into regionals through ladder.
Yeah, like last set I qualified to week 1 regionals after the first Cup, and I didn't play the second one, and I got completely rolled in regionals. Definitely did not want that to happen again. So yeah, I played in the Cup. Like for me, it's like either I lose really badly and I get super motivated, or I have a lot of fun winning, and I just want to keep working harder to keep winning.
I remember after set 10, you had this crazy run, obviously, and it was one of the last times I did an interview with someone, actually. And I sat down with you, and I remember asking you, what was your edge? Like, how did this happen, right? Because obviously you were a competitor who had strong results, but certainly nothing like that before. And I still talk about your answer actually, like on broadcasts and stuff at Worlds and in regionals, which is that what you told me was you felt like you were just able to play like yourself, and that was the edge. It wasn't that you were severely better than anyone else in the field. It was just that you felt comfortable. You felt like you were able to play your own game plan. And now it does kind of sound like that changed after set 10. I think I just kind of want to hear a reflection on that, because to me, it feels almost like, man, that was his whole thing, was that he wasn't feeling that pressure that other people were feeling, or at least it wasn't getting to you. Do you really feel like the one change was just all of a sudden everyone's expecting you to be able to do that, whereas in set 10 you were just kind of a another run-of-the-mill competitor?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to put like everything on that. Like, I guess like it's like, okay, it's probably okay for me to admit like I was probably like worse at the sets or like bad on certain patches at the tournaments. But I do think like having that expectation did weigh a decent amount on me. I want to attribute everything to that, but yeah, I definitely think it was like a pretty decent portion.
Do you think this set specifically allows you to play more like yourself than maybe the past few?
I definitely think this set is a lot more like flexible. Like just for example, like last set, the mech patch, like you were forced to like play mech maybe like 80% of your games, and that was something I had trouble coming to terms with. Like just because I wanted to play, if I have a strong opener for a different comp, it's just that comp is just like bad. So there's no reason to be playing that comp at all. This patch sort of felt like you could play anything that if you have a good spot for it, you should just play it. It was pretty similar in the first tournament too. So yeah, I feel like the set has been a lot better.
Ripple, talk a little bit about the set dynamic. So you promoted to the TPC this set from tier 2. Is there how much do these sets really come into play? Because we talk about some people being like really not set dependent, like Robin Song's probably being the best example of that. Like he's just always good no matter what happens. How, Ripple, for you, how much does the set matter for your performance and how you feel about the game?
Yeah, I think the set matters a lot. Like, this set's a lot more fun, and I think the more fun you're having with TFT, like, I mean, the more you're gonna want to play more, and the more you're gonna get better. Some sets I've definitely not had as much fun with, and I'm sure some other competitors also feel like they're kind of forced to play the set because they do want to compete, and play through like patches that are just not very fun. Also, I think based on the set design, the mechanic, the units, and the traits and stuff, like some of them definitely let you express skill a lot more, while others can also help you like hide deficiencies maybe if you're able to just kind of like I would say, like, let's take example the mech patch. Like if you the other lines are definitely harder to play because they're worse during the mech patch last set, and like probably take a higher floor execution. And if you don't want to do that, then you can just flip your game. And that kind of just makes up for it sometimes if you land on the right side. So yeah, I think stuff like that matters a lot. I think like in set 14, I didn't make tier 1, and I think I just didn't vibe with the like playing Cypher a bunch very well, and the set mechanic very well. So it was kind of tough for me to like get better at the set. But I think the set's definitely a lot better.
It's time to dig into Milala's run in the cup.
Let's do it. The for fun cup, as he said.
If you're seeing this on YouTube, you can see the scores here, but games 1, 2, 3, 4 all start off the same way for Milala, right? 1, 1, 1, 1, and then 2 for game 5. Let's stop there for a moment. Milala, can you talk about those games?
Yeah, I think I don't remember which game it was, but there's outside of my one birthday present game, every game was just like there's a certain augment like you need a hit or a roll down that you're having, and there are units you need to hit. I feel like everything was just going right in every single game. Even in my game where I went second, I feel like the only reason I didn't go second in that game was because the person who went first dodged me for the entire game. He was like full streaking on Kog'Maw 1 with the Rage Blade augment. It was super illegal, but then he ended up just being like a stronger version of me throughout the entire game. But it's just one of those days where it just felt like everything was going right. Unfortunately, those last 2 games were slightly less fortunate, but yeah.
I remember messaging Gangly and being like, "This Milala guy is back, and he's so cracked." And then I remember checking the score after Game 6. I was like, "Okay, it's a little closer." And then I turned on the stream to watch, and then I saw you go 7th, and I was like, "Uh-oh, how did this happen? Tell us how this happened." Because you went from this might be the greatest day of tournament ever to he might no longer win this tournament. Penny Andrews trying his best to, and others are trying their best to surmount you there.
Yeah, honestly, that Game 6, I honestly just played really bad. I was playing around Kion 2, and I ended up like losing 7 out of 10 of the first rounds when I definitely shouldn't have. Like, I just had like really bad Kion angles the entire time, and I should have been like win streaking on Warwick, but I ended up playing the streak Warwick, and I chose a really bad augment on 4-2. I think I just ended up like tilting and not playing well. And Game 7 was sort of like, I think I had like a 6 or 7 point lead on second place going into the last game. Yeah. So I sort of just say whatever. Sort of like zoned out at that point. Like just no winner's curse going into regionals.
Right.
All good.
Yeah.
I mean, Artillery Barrage, Rumble almost had you. He almost had you, letting you dodge the winner's curse. That was that Game 7 was something else. It was like on 2-5, you look at, I mean, you did have like 4 Rumbles or something at the start, right? You had a lot of Rumbles, but I do remember at 2-5, they're looking at Milala's board and it's like Sunfire Poppy, 4 Rumbles, no rods. It's just like, wait, how does he not go 8th here? And then thank God for Slice Down. Slice Down had you.
Yeah, true.
Well, you didn't dodge the winner's curse because you did end up winning the tournament. Your first tournament win in almost 2 years. Back on the top. They're still using this photo of you, man. It looks good. It's a good look. It's a good look. So congratulations on that cup win and being here to talk about it. Oh, Gangly, go ahead.
Well, I don't want to move on from cup yet because I want to talk about someone else in the cup. I want to talk about number 9 in the cup, Funkster. I don't know, Milala and Ripple, do you guys know Funkster at all?
No, he's part of the Tri-State group, right?
He sure is part of Tri-State. He is New Jersey's last hope right now. I will say, we haven't Lil Top is not really in form. Groxy's not really in form. Cool guy Dom has been falling short, and so Funkster has been holding it up. I just spoke to Funkster earlier before we did the recording, just to get a little bit of history, because I don't know if you guys knew this, but we had a whole circuit in Tri-State for 2025. Yep. And I didn't meet Funkster until about halfway through that. The first time I met him was at TC5, the last LAN. And so he started competing in the Tri-State stuff. After that, did really well in all of our online things. He didn't make it into the Invitational because he just didn't play in enough events. He was like a few points short of taking my spot. Thank God. And then he ended up casting the event. Was a fantastic caster, by the way. Like, I think he has a very promising future in that as well. But makes it to cup through trials, and then makes it all the way to 9. So I talked to him just to get a little bit of his backstory. And what I learned was his introduction to competitive TFT was TC5. He didn't compete in TFT until he came to a LAN in Manhattan. That's where he met all of the ARA guys, if you all know them. That's Ralphie and like the Always Roll Academy group. And that's when he started taking it super seriously. And then since TC5, the next set, he went from being like a Masters 200 LP or 0 LP or something to ending the set on like a crazy win streak, 1200 LP. I think it was like 15th on the NA ladder in set 14. And now is going to be representing the Tri-State in regionals. And so I asked him a little bit about how he played the tournament, and he was telling me that he felt that playing from either soft or full open was significantly more viable in this patch compared to some other ones. And so I don't want to give like the whole breakdown, but he was playing a lot of open into things like Warwick or things into Slayers and and Kaisa as well. And that was his primary game plan. I know there's some he had some other kind of pocket pick stuff that he had ready in the chamber, but he really valued being able to spike on 3-5 and then try and maintain that streak through stage 4. And so obviously it worked out for him. And so Funkster is I just want to give some love because he's a really nice guy and is a player that is very clearly on the rise. And I think that people should be paying attention because it's very easy when it goes into regionals and you have what's the number, 64 people or whatever.
It's more.
Sometimes you
play in, right? Or is it
because
64 at play in?
No, because it's 32 in weekend 2, including some of the people from, I think it is 64 total or like
I think
some yeah, it's like 56 or 64. It's very easy to just pay attention to the really big names and assume that anyone who comes in through the cup is a side character. So I just want to put it out there that if you sleep on some of these players and assume that they aren't threats because you don't know their name, you might be very surprised come regionals. And I think Funkster in the last 8 months has quickly risen to be one of those players that you have to have your eyes on.
And I think one of the most interesting things to talk about with Funkster specifically is that even though they went 9th in this tournament, they did go to regional finals week 1, not the play-in where 9th place usually would go. And so I want to head over to this ranked ladder because there's multiple ways for those in the tier 2 circuit to qualify for regional finals, which has the opportunity to promote to tier 1. Two opportunities are through the Tactician's Cup 1 and 2, which Milala just won the second one, and then ranked ladder is the other main one, which we'll see Brosif and Milala advancing to week 1 through ranked ladder. And so obviously Milala had already locked in his spot, played this cup for fun, won the cup, but like explain kind of what happens with this and like the order of priority for where the slots go, who gets the slot now. Can you guys talk a little about that?
Yeah, so everything happens like chronologically. So the ladder snapshots actually ended right before Cup 2. So the first priority is the regional slots from Cup 1. And I think out of everyone in this list, the only one who made it via the Cup, or out of the people on this list that made it to regional finals week 1 is Wigwag and Kurmax. And then I think Dank Memes is in the play-ins. So then it goes to ladder snaps. Then Wigwag's spot would go to like the next person on the list, which is Arctics, because Dank Memes is already in play-ins from the first cup.
Okay, so okay. Yeah.
But everyone on this list is in regionals.
Yeah.
Right? That is the short version of this.
Yeah.
Every single person listed here has made it to regionals in one form or another.
Yeah,
but because you won and you were already in through ladder, your slot moved down the list to Funkster.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Funkster's playing slot moved down to Wongurkis.
Wongurkis.
Do we know who Wongurkis is? I mean, Brazilian player.
That guy reached me on ladder one time.
He's on his list.
He's actually on Milala's list.
That's one of my favorite parts about like, prepping for, commentating regionals and stuff. Is like, who is Wongurkis? And what do I need to know about him going into this weekend? It's always just fun. Anyway, so many of these people made it from that were high in the ranked ladder, made it through different methods, which I think is just a testament to good TFT players being good at TFT, and being able to do that consistently. And Milala, for you, talking a little bit about ladder, because ladder is a grind. You clearly enjoyed this set. You've played a lot. You've kept your rank high. You've played in tournaments. Are you just like all the way back?
I think it's really hard to say like being all the way back compared to like set 10 Milala. I think I'm sort of in my like set 6 to set 8 form. I think historically I've always been a pretty bad ladder player, but I think with the way like tier 2 works, there's probably like a decent gap between like the really good tier 2 players and like the mid-level tier 2 players. Like last set, most of the good ladder players also advanced to a tournament as well. So yeah.
I just want to say that I'm if I remember correctly, set 8 Milala in this current format would go to Worlds, right? If it's top 8 or top 9 at regionals, right? Where you were actually you were both final lobby, right? In set 8. Yeah.
Yep.
The old heads remember. Isn't it crazy that set 8 is like old school TFT now?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So also what I'm hearing is that set 17 or 18, you're winning every tournament.
Hopefully.
The next Open. Wait, the next Vegas Open. This makes sense.
Yeah.
The Vegas Open is the music set.
Coming back. The music clicks with them. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about this weekend's tournament and the TPC coming up, because we have our final TPC tournament of the year, the Damacia Cup, not the year, the set. The third one, and I feel like this came up so fast. It was so funny. Gangly and I were DMing on Monday, and we were like, wait a second, this is this weekend. We need to record a podcast. When? Tomorrow. Okay, understood. And so got it all together. And this is going to be a very interesting cup, because if you've been following along with the scene, you know that Weijin has won 2 of these TPC events, and Darth Noob has won another one, stealing a slot from Mia. But it has made probably the most interesting part of this tournament. How can other people qualify for the Tactician's crown? Because Weijin is taking all the spots away from everyone. Ripple, is this fair? And have you told him to calm down?
Nope, I'm ready for the golden road. Nope. It's time. The best set of all time. Okay. I don't know. I mean, Weijin's been doing great. Like, he's gonna keep doing great, especially because he doesn't really have the pressure to win or anything. But he's just gonna keep playing anyway because the way he does. Yeah.
I feel like in a way that's like more scary, right? He's the only person in the field. Well, I guess Darth as well. Those are the only 2 that have no pressure at all. When you think back to what we were even just saying half an hour ago of Milala attributing his success in set 10 to just feeling no pressure and just playing like himself when it came to tournament day, then it does kind of feel like the rich sometimes you get richer in TFT, right? Yeah. It's like when you're riding the high, you're in flow state. We might be witnessing the Neo of TFT in Weijin Iverson.
That's kind of what I was looking like.
Yeah, looking at your spot on this list of pro points, Ripple, you're pretty in the middle of the regionals final week 1. Let me explain kind of the left side of the screen real quick. The way that these pro points work are different than last set. The person who goes first and has the most pro points would earn qualification to the Tactician's crown. Now, currently, because of Weijin's performances, he is sitting in that slot, meaning he is 4 points above Maikel, who has also had a great set. And so Maikel is very much aiming for that spot, alongside people like Chunnington and Pokygum, who are right there behind him. But if Weijin does finish in this rank 1 spot, it does not go down to the next one like it does for tier 2. It goes to the regional finals. So, long way to set up this question. Ripple, as someone who's not probably can actually, I don't think it's mathematically possible for you to get that top spot. It's not. Are you wanting Weijin to keep that top spot so you have another slot at regionals for you to make the Tactician's crown? I know Milala, you are.
Honestly, I want to see Weijin do well. For me, so whatever. But yeah, I want to see him do well.
Yeah, I think that we'll say that. But it'd be cool. There's more slots in regionals that we could both get. I think it's cool that in the more recent sets, it's been just make final lobby at regionals, probably the worlds, compared to study and stuff.
Oh, and then it's checkmate too. It just makes all of us happy when everybody's already qualified in the final lobby for the anyway.
Yeah,
it's my favorite rule.
I do. I'm. Oh, go for it. Yeah, you go for it.
Oh, I was gonna say I'll mostly be playing to try to keep my spot in TPC. I was gonna claim it because I mean I'm down here because I feel like I got a little BG'd on the first cup. We had the 1 day patch, and I think I just had a terrible read. So hopefully I can make a comeback on the last tournament.
I want to hear from you, Ripple, because there's another host on this show that people don't tend to see peak Ripple as the same peak Ripple that I think I've projected. I'm not going to name names, but I personally feel like there is this very clear like tier 0 that competitive TFT has had over the last, I would say, like 8 sets. Like set 8 is kind of like that dawn of a new era in TFT where, like, you know, the Dish Soap Setsuko and Wage and Iverson dominance started to form. And then below that, there were always like these contenders below them. I felt for a long time that when you were actively playing and actively trying, because you did have some sets where you were technically playing, but you could see that your heart was not in it. Even as early as set 9, I think, was one of those sets where like immediately after finding great success, you kind of took a step back. I've always felt like when you are really in peak form, you could be one of the people that could contend with that tier 0, but we've never really seen that same level of consistency from you. I kind of want to hear your thoughts on your TFT career and where you would place yourself among those people.
Yeah, I feel like I'm definitely not up there at the top because I'm not very consistent or have not been that consistent. I feel like I've had like my moments, you know, like especially like where there's some games and some rounds where I position really well or something, or I actually get myself out of like a hard game pretty well. But I just like often will just drop it in another game. And to be at the top, you have to be like consistent every game, right? I feel like you probably make like a comparison to like Melee, where like, I mean, I played Falco, so I feel like sometimes you can, like, I feel like I can drop like the sickest combo ever, right? And it's a really cool stock, and then the next stock I just SD, and then my whole lead is gone, right? And I feel like that happens to me a lot in like tournaments. Like I'll be doing pretty well, and I just take like a random A for something, and I just kind of like lose some momentum. And um, yeah, I think like I've been trying to work more on like, I mean, always working on trying to be more consistent and stuff. But yeah, until I'm there, I'm probably not up there. I think I just have a chance usually. Uh, yeah,
And you are full-time TFT at the moment, right?
yeah. At the moment, probably not for much longer. At least for the remainder of the set. But yeah, I've been full time for a while. Kind of need to go back to work soon. So TFT doesn't really bring in the money unless you win worlds. So yeah.
Sounds like the goal's simple then. Just go win worlds. Man.
Yeah.
Just go win worlds. And looking at this spot, you alluded to it a little bit. Obviously, what you're fighting for, and most of these players on this, is to get back into TPC next set. So that top half from 16 up will qualify automatically for week 2, which qualifies you for the set 17 TPC. What is the why is that such a big goal for people? Is it for the security of it? Is TPC like that big of deal for all these pro players? Like, tell me why that is the goal.
Yeah, I mean TPC I feel like is like the goal dream for most of the pro players because it's where you get to play against the best people, right? And you're seeking out the best competition. That's what's the most fun. As someone who spent like me and Milala both spent many sets just like playing the normal cups before they had TPC, where usually by the final lobby you're playing against like the top players in the region, right? Now that there's like that divide, if you go down to tier 2, then you pretty much spend the set like not really getting to compete at that level until regionals where you make it, and you're kind of just like playing for ladder snaps and stuff. And so yeah, you just really want to go to tier 1 because that's where all the competition is, and it's a lot of fun. And I think having the guarantee in week 2 is really big because like, I mean, if it was anything like last set, you might get the B patch, and you don't want to play week 1 on a different patch. That might be worse, right? And there's just like always variance in TFT tourneys, right? Which is why I always like in the history of the cups, hitting the snap for week 2 or day 2 or whatever has been a really big deal because you just don't want to get on the wrong side of variance.
I do think like as a tier 2 player, not being in tier 1, sort of the big thing that feels really bad is like you only get one chance to make it to worlds as a tier 2 player. Like you have to do really well in regionals at like the week 1 regionals, and you have to make it to week 2 regionals, and you have to do really well at week 2 regionals to even get a chance to go to worlds, which is like sort of what it was before they introduced TPC. But I feel like if I was like a tier 1 player, I would have a chance to go to worlds every single tournament, which is like the biggest thing.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of discussion last set as well, but this set I've seen quite a bit of it about the I don't know if the word's like commitment, but like the drive of some of the tier 1 players. And we definitely saw it last set as well. But even on the co-stream this past weekend, I know Kurum was very vocal about it, saying that these tier 1 players, they're not hungry. You know, they're kind of sitting up on their thrones and they don't need to grind ladder. They don't have to play as much. And some of them are taking advantage of that. And to be frank, I think those who are taking advantage of the most, we're seeing the results, right? Like we are seeing the players who are not trying in TPC because we can see how they're performing in the events. Is there any world where, I mean, obviously you're both very clearly saying you'd rather be in tier 1, but I guess, can you just talk about like the benefit of not having that safety net, Milala, of saying like, you can't just rest on your laurels and know that you get 3 more tournaments because you do have to compete the entire set. Like at some point, I have to imagine that actually does give you an edge going into regionals.
Yeah, I think like last time when I was prepping a lot with Ripple, we were like super try hard, like watching a bunch of streams, watching a bunch of VODs, and we would like update each other on our read on like every single patch. Unfortunately, going into regionals, it didn't pay off for me because like the read was sort of just like you have to make it to 9 or you have to play mech. It was good for Ripple. He made it out. Yeah, I definitely. I would say like throughout the set, there are certain points where like the really good tier 2 players might be better than like the average tier 1 player, just because of, you know, they're grinding for the Tactician Cup or there's perma grinding for ladder snaps. But yeah, I do think that's also sort of attributes to like the upper echelon of tier 2 players can like compete and are on par with like a lot of the tier 1 players, like Dank Memes or like Kurum and like those guys. Like I would say probably deserve to be in tier 1. I don't know over who, but like if you wouldn't be surprised to see their name in tier 1, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Speaking of which, let's talk a little bit about some of these players and their journeys, because we on this show, we've been doing a thing we call the Rolldown Rankings, and it's very much a community thing where, hey, all the players get the opportunity to vote. There's some panelists also that give their perspective on the players that are in this tournament. And I think this tells that story as well. Like, hey, if you're not trying or you're not performing at this TPC level, you're going to get rated lower, or you're going to get rated higher if you're doing the opposite. So we're going to jump into that as a way to talk about these players and people's perception of them. But first, before we jump into that, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor for the Rolldown Rankings, Citadel Gaming. They are an org that has dove into TFT headfirst. They continue to double, triple, quadruple down on supporting the TFT community, serving esports, and really making a name for themselves. They're hosting a double up tournament this coming weekend that is going to be so full of people. They're running a bounty system to include other people right now. They're just great in the community. So if you want to support us, support our sponsor, you can join their Discord down below. You can follow them on socials to keep up with everything they're doing. I believe today they announced that they're partnering their Marvel Rivals team in Team Liquid. It's like Liquid Citadel now. Anyway, that's pretty cool. So shout out to Citadel for sponsoring the show. Without further ado, here are your bottom 8 of the current Rolldown Rankings. We have at 32, probably in the spot he belongs, Milk at the bottom, Josue Deleted, then Crazy Cat, Fan the Kiki, Dehua, Jungle Book, 11 Lumen, and David Ace on our bottom 8 here.
Anyone you want to talk about, Jack? Like you're always in host mode. Anyone you want to hype up?
Dude,
or it's not really hype up. Anyone you want to kick while they're down?
Anyone? No, I want to hype up Crazy Cat. I think this guy like had a really like we're talking him up in the last show. They're like, no, like Crazy Cat played like really well, and this is the guy that didn't know he was making tier 1 when he made weekend 2 last set for regionals, and so I love that he's at the highest spot he's been on these rankings at 30, and I'm looking forward to seeing if he can continue to improve this weekend. I think he's just a fun character.
Whenever I see him on the Ghost stream, he's always playing some crazy stuff, and he's still making it out while playing some crazy stuff. So it's really respectful.
Milk is continuing to be his, be in vacationing around the world form, but I drafted him saying he's ramping up. I believe one more Broseph coaching session. That's it. That's all he needs. One more session, and he's making it back to TPC.
That'll do it. That'll do it for
Got
sure.
bad news about how much TFT Milk is playing.
Wait. Let me check. Hold on. What's his thing? Is it
Milk?
like VIT Milk? Let's see. Masters 280 LP. Hey, he played one game 2 days ago, and then he played 2 weeks ago.
That's pretty good.
Well, you know
That's
what?
not that bad.
He really is just a success story. If you are a Masters player with a 60% top 4 rate in Masters 200 LP, you might have what it takes to make it to the TPC one day.
And get a 1.39 rating on the Rolldown Rankings. That's what we all aspire to.
I mean, if I was a Masters 200 LP player and I was still getting rated more than 1 star on average by the entirety of the TPC, I'd be pretty happy about that. So I think this is a not bad score at all for Milk.
Sure. Yeah, let's fill that glass a little bit more towards halfway for sure. Yeah, that'll be great. Another player I want to call out on this, making a pretty big rise here as far as the number goes, especially, is David Ace, who has had 2 pretty solid performances. Had a really sad way out of the last TPC that he was in. Had a good start to a day, and it just didn't end the way that he would have wanted. But getting a little bit more respect here is pretty fun. But you guys ready for the next one? This is where it starts to get a little spicy. There's a lot of movement on this one. I'll warn you. Let's do it. Okay, here is the next 8. Kiyun at 24, Ladder Slayer, then Babzera, Spencer, Bobster, Shaco, Ripple, and then CMB. Also, how did Ripple go down? That's my question. How did
That's
that
what I'm
happen?
wondering. Like, what? I thought it pretty good on the last cup.
Wait, what was his
I know why.
score differential from Cup 1 to Cup 2? Like, did he move down a lot in the previous one? Or did...
I think
This
was
was
like
Ripple's
16
best
in the last.
performance.
Not good enough.
Okay,
wasn't
I think
my
I know what
fault.
happened. So the arrows are just positions on the ranking, not number. By the way, I don't remember what your number was before. Hold on, I'll look.
We can dig it up. Yeah, we can. We have the technology.
We have the ability
All
to
right.
do these
I have
things.
been doing that well in scrims. I understand.
Okay, your number went down 0.15.
Well, that's not bad.
That's not bad. Yeah.
0.16. Yeah, good math. But I think a lot of people that were just a little bit below you did move up. So that's where it's like, that's where the difference is. Anyway.
Yeah.
Some other
I see.
big movers down are specifically want to call out Bobster is one of them, Babzera is one of them, and Spencer, all moving down pretty significantly. Just because a lack of having a standout performance this set, where some of these other players like Ladder Slayer have had some, pretty, I would say, surprising performances. Ladder Slayer had a bad Cup 1, but a final lobby appearance in Cup 2. And so a lot of these differencing performances really just move the perception around a ton.
Is there anyone on this list that we've seen so far that either one of you have an opinion on or want to talk about?
I feel like for me, I haven't been watching too many like tier 1 cups, but I feel like what I generally base it off is like how often I play against them, like solo queue, and how often I see them, because I was grinding out the ladder snaps. And I would say like last set I was seeing like Ladder Slayer a lot, and like David Az and 11 Lumen, just because they were also grinding it out. And I feel like I haven't seen like Ladder Slayer or like Q a single time throughout like my entire grind this set. So yeah. And David.
Okay. Kyun was Grandmaster for a long time, so let's leave that there.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I think Spencer being 21st is the biggest shock to me.
Mm-hmm.
If you told me at the beginning of this set that at any point in the set Spencer would be considered a bottom 10 roughly player, I don't think I would believe you. I am not following exactly what his solo queue is looking like. I don't know how much he's grinding, but I think most people who have been following TFT are aware of the fact that Spencer, when he is in form, he's a monster. Like Spencer has always been a beast at TFT from as early as set 4, right? And whenever he has come back, the only time when he took a break from TFT and then came back, he actually found even more success than when he had left originally, right? He made it to set 12 worlds, I think it was, where he went 9th or 10th, something like that, barely missing out on a final lobby. And that's not that long ago, right? That's like what, a year and 3 months ago, we were watching him on the international stage. Yeah, I'm personally pretty shocked to see Spencer have such a poor set thus far. Obviously, the scores he's had have, justify his ranking, but it's just not something I saw coming at all. And I would love to see Spencer bounce back. To me, he's a household name that I would feel very sad if the TPC did not have space for Spencer next set.
He is on play-ins watch. I don't know if you know that, Nick. He's literally 28th.
Oh yeah.
He's the very last slot in. He's tied with Dehua in points.
His AVP is like 6 point something, I think, or it's 5.6 at the moment.
Goodness.
Yeah, it's not very good.
Ripple, you are a vote holder for this. Who is in this bottom 16 that you have either pretty significantly higher than where they are, or you don't have to leak, but it's a fun thing. Who is somebody that you're like this person should not be here?
Himself.
I don't. I think I'd give myself like a 6 or something. So I don't mind. But I actually gave Crazy Cat a lot higher points, I think, because he has been doing well, and I think I rated Bobster higher than 6. I think CMB has also been doing really well too, right? I feel like I'm kind of surprised to see him in the bottom half. Was he in the last final lobby or the one before that, or both? I think.
I think he's barely missed out or something. I think he was 9th.
Okay, yeah. I think in last because he's done very well, and he did really well last set too. So I say that. I guess 17 is not too far from the upper half, but.
Milala, you're not a vote holder. Who do you need a flame? Who on the committee do you want to flame for? Like, what are we doing?
Oh yeah. Completely unrelated. I want to say like this set I've seen Showtime hang out with Spencer a lot, and that might be why he's doing so poorly.
Could be why.
The Showtime effect.
Regarding CMB, I think his standing right now of 17th is one of those things where it's like he's moving up and is 17th. And I think it's more that a lot of people probably didn't have him rated that highly to begin with, because I think everyone kind of does make adjustments. Everyone has like a general baseline of where they put the field, right? Like this person is the best and this person's probably the worst. And then when the person who is the best does poorly, you knock them down a little bit. You don't knock them down from number 1 to 32, even if they went 32nd in that last tournament. And likewise for the people at the bottom. I think CMB's ranking probably reflects more that people would like default put him 5 or 6 as like a star rating. And then he did pretty well, but just missed out on final lobby. So it's probably like, okay, well now I put him as a 6 or a 7. And you can even see the jump between Ripple and CMB is almost a half point, right? Which implies that I actually can't even remember. I don't have the graphic up. I imagine that the difference between CMB and number 16 is smaller than the gap between CMB and Ripple, which means he's right on the cusp, right? Like one more 9th place finish, and I think CMB probably skyrockets from 17th into like 13th or maybe 12th, something like that.
Yeah, I do think like in history of these power rankings, it's like definitely hard to like climb up the power rankings, just because as TFT goes longer, like people will look at you based on your consistency and have you done like every single set, and they probably just have like that baseline for you. Especially if they've seen you play, and if the time that they saw you play it was either really good or really bad, that's probably like what they base their opinion on a lot. And so you actually have to like do well in so many tournaments to like, I guess, raise your aura. And if you don't, then like it kind of just goes back down. So
that's why the real tech when doing rankings is to have not watched anyone. When I said that replay was going to pop off in set 8, I had not watched a single game of him play, but I just saw the numbers and the stats didn't lie, and then he won Worlds. So that's the tech. Don't watch anyone play TFT. Just assume that it's like it's just, I don't know, a simulator.
You're just creating AI to play TFT, right? That's what you're saying? Is like if you create a bot to play perfect TFT, it would beat everyone?
Yeah, I guess that's... Yeah, sure.
Yeah, cool.
All right, let's see the next set of 8.
The next set of 8, we have JD Zielinski at 16, me first to 8th at 15. Robin Songs all the way down at 14th. Then tied for 12th, we have Botho Skills and Quintanilla. Then we have Chunnington, K3 Soju, and Pokygom. Obviously, for probably everyone, Chunnington was on our last podcast, but seeing him all the way up here at 11 is a huge amount of respect, and I believe he deserves it because he is absolutely having a great set.
I mean, he's one of the few players that is within striking distance of Wage and Iverson for the pro point slot to make it to the set championship. It's Wajan, Chunnington, Maikel, and then like me first or 8th and Pocky are up there as well, I think, right?
It's really just Pocky and then Quinta's close.
Okay.
Yeah. But
wait, is me first or 8th not in there? I thought me first or 8th had 2 final lobbies. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he's 7th. But it's not the points as far as the points go.
Jeez.
It falls off kind of after Pocky. Yeah. There's a big gap, but anyway. Anyone on this list for you, Ripple, that has really earned your respect this set?
I mean, definitely Chunnington. And that guy's been doing super well, and he kind of like out of nowhere. I mean, not really out of nowhere. If you've been playing ladder for a while, you've been seeing him kind of rise up in the past few sets. Last time he did like super well to get to tier 1. And I think also like an impressive thing is like, I mean, at least I find impressive is when players do well and they don't scrim or anything. Like he's just playing ladder, watching VODs, and making it to the final lobby, which I think is really, really good. Also, he's a beast at Valorant. Yeah.
I think it would be a miss on our part if we didn't have you two, or at least one of you, talk about Bosso. A player. I'm assuming he's still in your study group. I know historically he's been in your study group, but I think it was last podcast, one of the shows recently, I was talking about how I felt for a long time like there was a mismatch of Bosso's perceived skills, his perceived skill versus his actual tournament results. And the last 2 sets, to me, it felt like his results are finally catching up to his reputation. Do you guys feel that same way?
I definitely agree. I think Boss Seals has just been like historically underrated. He was like sort of like the first guy who taught us about Warwick, which was like maybe like 2 patches ago when legit no one was playing it. But like he sort of like pivoted from being like this hidden guy to like AFK posting Twitter guides to farm aura and like farm engagement.
Yeah.
So I think that maybe that's why like he's slowly getting like more recognition in the power rankings. So like even like when we first started competing, like set 6 or whatever, like people were like, this guy's a random and sucks. But yeah, now people are getting his respect.
I always look forward to his hot takes. Those are my favorite posts. Those are the best.
He was actually even hyping up Warwick in Paris. He was just saying like, if as soon as they fix this Jinx unit, like Zon will be OP, which kind of happened. I guess it's not OP, but it's very good. And I feel like also for his like tournaments, like I don't know, you agree, Mala, but I feel like he definitely like gets tilted sometimes.
Yeah.
And he's like very hard on himself when he does like bad games, even if he misses like a couple points or something. But coming into tournaments, he always has like a very strong, confident read on the game. Unlike me, I usually don't have a great read, but like I feel like this set Bossos just had a really good understanding of the metas and like the pocket where you can find success. Like I mean, he mentioned on the last patch that I think Saipio just misunderstood the meta in the last cup, and that's where he just kind of like found success because he's just like having a better read. So
I do want to say that although there is a red arrow that's pointing down by Bosso Skill's name, he is down 1 spot on the power rankings, but he's up half a star, which is pretty significant as far as between the 2 power rankings. But it's because Chunnington has gained almost a star and a half. That he's moved down. Quinta has also gained just under a whole star ranking this power rankings as well. So there's just a lot of big movers, and so obviously him moving down but going up. And anyway, so there is still more and more respect being added to Bosso Skills and who he is as a competitor. And there's going to be a certain point where it's going to be like, no, this Bosso Skills guy, he was 11 in our last power rankings, now 12. This guy is like very much in that A tier of TFT players in the Americas. So it just needs to win something. He needs to win some things, you know?
When I think back to sets, don't talk if you don't know, was first active in set 6. When did it sunset? Was it set 10 maybe? I think that's around when Bryce
11
left.
I think it was 11 or 12 that they finally stopped.
Okay.
Yeah.
I felt like Bosso was always the player that he would get the nod of like 12 through 15 was like, those were the spots that people would use on their ballots to like call out a player who wasn't notable, but they were like potentially a really good player. And I felt like he was just perpetually this like 12th through 15th slot on power ranking. So I don't know if he's ever been considered like top 8 in North America or in the Americas, but it does feel like if it were to ever happen, this is the set that it could happen. So I'm really excited to watch Bosso going into this upcoming weekend and regionals. To me, obviously, again, like the tri-state bias, like I love having Bosso do well. But I'm excited to see if he can like reach that next rung that has just been slightly evading him for so long. Same with Pocky also, who he's been there at the top, but now, like, again, one of the players within striking distance of Wage and Iverson. Pocky is someone who everybody at this point in time is kind of aware of the kind of intuitive genius that Pocky is, that he just kind of gets TFT and how it functions on as a whole. And we're seeing this, like I forget which cup it was that he was like, oh, I didn't actually prep that hard. I played a ton of games the week leading up into, I think it was the first cup, because then he was like, then there was a brand new patch, and he found a bunch of success, right? And I just think we are seeing this set how some of these players who have been seeking either that next rung for a long time or have been trying to return to glory are finding their place, their footing once again. So yeah, I'm looking to see if Pocky and Bosso will be pushing into top 8 for our next rankings.
I was gonna add I feel like nowadays to be in the top 8 of like Americas, you probably have to have gone to World at least once, or like probably gone multiple times. And me and Bosso are competing for most regionals without ever going to Worlds. So maybe if one of us can make it, we can go up.
There's an invisible ceiling, like you guys can't break through because of the world's bias. That's a really good point.
That's a really interesting stat. I don't know who actually does hold. Is this something, or like, are you saying that jokingly, or do you actually hold the record alongside Bosso as most regionals without Worlds?
I think I might actually hold the record. We were just talking about it last set.
Pressman's up there too, right?
Pressman went to Worlds.
Pressman went to Worlds.
Oh, yeah, he got Shito Red.
Yeah. How could I forget?
I'm gonna look this up after the episode. I'm gonna figure this out because that's really fascinating.
There'll be a graphic.
The biggest loser.
It'll be at Gangly _ on Twitter. There'll be a graphic somewhere about this. Don't worry.
We call it the Chud Club. because like, especially in our study group, there's actually so many people who have like gotten to Worlds and like won Worlds, and then there's just the Chuds, like me and Bosso.
I mean, you were top 8 at Paris Open, right? Like that has to count for something, doesn't that gives you something over Bosso?
That is true. We were actually talking about this
achievement is
at
that he outplaced me at a tri-state LAN. That's his crowning achievement.
And Ripple's won a LAN too. He won calculated loss.
I mean, he won a West Coast LAN. It's like, who cares about those?
Oh yeah.
That's fair. One thing before we move on is that Robin at 14 just feels wrong. His performances this set have been very middle. He only lost half a star and he moved down 6 placements. So again, it's just, there's a little bit more inflation of the top end on this list. So it's fun to see new blood up there, but also weird to see Robin down there. But he'll show up. I feel like this patch specifically is probably going to be a bit better for him. As the set becomes more solved, I feel like he becomes better. But let's move on to one by one, our top 8 of the rankings this time around. Looking at number 8 is Prestivant, moving down from 6 on our previous rankings down to 8.
remember he had another like top 16 placement, right? In the last cup.
Precedent got 16 pro points. I'm not looking at the bracket.
17th.
Yeah.
This feels like a continuation of what we were saying last ranking about Precedent, that his spot on the rankings almost feels like he's not doing anything to lose himself points. You know, he's had very respectable placements for the last 2 sets, basically every single tournament. Like 17th is not a poor placement. It is technically bottom half, but it's like fine, right? Especially in a game of variance, even if you're assuming that this is middle of the pack variance, like at the very least, he's showcasing that he belongs to be a contender in TPC. I feel like him going down here is just the result of other people moving up. And it's just because he hasn't really made noise in a long time that we're starting to see him drop a little bit. Like I doubt his star ranking couldn't have gone down that much, right?
It went down half star. Pretty significantly.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, that's for a 17th?
Yeah.
I mean, who are these panelists, man?
Oh, they
What
are.
did I put him?
Pocky and Precedent are tied. We did not catch that when we did this, but they're
you're right.
both tied at 8. So, for what it's worth.
How do you two feel about Precedent?
I think Precedent's always like a solid player. For me, also like I just remember I was like looking at Precedent's LP graph and he was 1400 one day, and then the next day I checked him and he was like 700. And then I was just, it's like there are times where he's just like doesn't have a good read on the patch. I don't know if that's how people felt maybe or feel maybe going into this one.
Yeah, I feel like he's really solid. I feel he'll always be around like this area. I think like in terms of rating points, like I feel like that 7 to 10 range is like hard to give sometimes, especially when you start like comparing to like other people that you're giving 7s, 8s, 9s, and 10s. So if people are just showing really high consistency, which is where you probably give them 8, 9, you probably reserve 10 for like waging or something, then like it's probably fair to like some people to give them a 7.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like with that in mind, you would assume that this like 5 through 10 or 5 through 12, 6 through 12, somewhere around there to be very close, right? Because that would be all the players that are 7 baseline leaning towards the 8, and it's just about how many panelists are giving them an 8 versus a 7.
Yeah.
It's very, very close and has been in this range. So I'm very curious to see who at rank 7, where their numbers at. That it's Marcel back in the top 8. Was in the top 8 for the very first one. Actually, I believe at 7, and is now back here after final lobby in one of the TPC events last time around. Was pretty close to winning it. Was in check early, but just wasn't quite able to get the spot to bring it home. So back in this top 8 for Marcel. But again, the star ranking there is so close.
Yeah, Marcel's kind of just been continuing this trend of success over the last couple sets, right? He talked about, I forget where he posted it, maybe on Twitter or something, about his journey of just like slow improvement set over set, eventually culminating in his Worlds run last set. And it sucked to watch him go dead last at Worlds because everybody knows that Marcel is a beast. And I mean, Worlds is where somebody has to go last. Like that's just the nature of any tournament. Somebody does have to go last, but you don't want it to be someone that you have been able to see a cool journey like Marcel's.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's been nice to see this sort of redemption going back to domestic dominance. And I hope to see him back on the international stage.
Yep. Number 6 on our Rolldown Rankings is Cambuli, falling pretty far down from where he had been. Just didn't have a great last cup, losing almost a full 0.8 on his star ranking. So again, was the most consistent player in the Americas. Obviously, that doesn't take away from him as a player that he hasn't had the same consistent results that he's had. But with that, it comes a little bit of less hype. Again, not making as much noise as Gangly said earlier is a big deal.
I actually watch Cam stream a lot because he always streams like the scrims and he streams a lot of solo queue in the morning. I feel like he's like, I remember there was like this tweet about like him working extra harder or like there's like
I remember
about that or something. But I do think Cam Milala's just always been like super consistent. like even before he got recognized, like he was always like a strong player that was just like super consistent.
Yeah. I told him my daily routine is to get outplaced by him in scrims, and then I go watch his VOD.
Good plan. Good plan. He always has like the ghost doe cat too. I always like, oh, there's Gangly. I found him. Anyway, just very recognizable. All right, number 5 on the Rolldown Rankings. Setsuko at an even 8. Again, the points, the values are very, very close here. Setsuko down at 5.
When's the last time Setsuko was ranked 5th in like any region, right? This is a pretty low ranking for Setsuko. I literally made this graphic and I can't remember who's above him. Who are we missing? It's kind of wild that we're actually seeing Setsuko drop down to like this kind of fighting for 5th even, right? Like just barely above Cam, and even Marcel, who's been moving up, is catching him. Like with this current trend, is there a world where Setsuko ends the set as the 8th best player in the Americas?
I mean, a few people rate him a 7 or a 6, and he's down in the 12 to 16 range. Like, it's pretty easy. It's so close between 12 and 5 here. So I
want to know the crazy thing about this is that Setsuko hasn't won a game in TPC this set.
Really?
Maybe the most like anti Setsuko thing you could hear, right? Like when I think of like who are the 2 players in North America who can win games better than anyone else, it's Weijin and Setsuko, hands down. Like even though I think like Dishsoap is the GOAT, like I think that the thing about Setsuko and Weijin is that's their stick. Like they win games more than anybody else can. So for him to go 20 games in set 16 without a win has to be one of his longest stretches in competitive TFT without a win.
I do want to say, like, it sort of feels like from Setsuko, like as the sets have gone by and as the years have gone by, it does seem like the amount of he cares about competitive TFT has significantly dwindled as time passes.
Yeah,
which is a sad thing to see, but like I feel like it's just how the cookie crumbles.
I do want to say, I think this next person on the list is someone that I would start to put in this conversation of this guy, when he needs to win games, wins games. And I think that's evidenced by where they're headed in March. And that would be Darth Noob, who moving all the way up to 4 from 12th on our last power ranking, because, hey, when you win a tournament, turns out you get a lot of respect. Whole point, 1.2 stars of respect here from the whole panel.
Darth is also still one of the most volatile players in the field. He's historically always been very volatile, and even when he's finding great success, I love that he's still kind of maintaining that. Like I have it pulled up here. It's 22 games, of course, right? So the numbers are always going to sound crazy when you're looking at a 22 game sample size, but it's like roughly 32% win rate and roughly 18% eighth rate, right? This is like, we're talking clear levels of first or eighth rate that we're seeing from Darth this set. So he makes games fun to watch, right? He keeps it entertaining. So I'm glad he gets his redemption, getting another shot at Tac Crown. I know his run did not go the way he wanted to when he was there. What was that, set 13 or 14?
Yeah, the Arcane set.
Yeah,
Arcane, yeah, 13. So yeah, I'm sure he's excited to be back. You guys, again, like another player in your study group that you two have spoken with quite a bit. Do you have any insight on what it's like to study with Darth?
Because I probably talked with Darth a little more than Milala because we study him for like the one cups. I think he probably just has like the most knowledge on a bunch of stuff in TFT. I mean, he runs the sims, he checks a lot of stats. He actually plays like an insane amount of ladder games to like just test out stuff. And I think he did like a little podcast this morning TFT where he talked about like, yeah, his main thing is like he just has to learn the game a lot and get really good at it. He doesn't feel like he's that strong in fundamentals sometimes, but like pretty much he makes up for that by studying so much and practicing. And I feel like I see that sometimes when like mod reviewing with him, like some of his tournaments, you'll pretty much see like I feel like in a day he'll just have a bunch of like firsts and seconds because like when he gets in the spot that he like knows, like he's just executing it really well, and especially just like finding like the win con, right? And then there's just some games where he just kind of like starts like trolling at the beginning and then just kind of like spirals, I guess. And it's just kind of hard to get out of. But like I think if you ever watch Dar's VODs, like he's probably one of the heaviest, I feel like scouters in stage 2. Like he really doesn't want to get himself into a bad line or a bad or like a really contested line. And that usually like leads him to be in a good spot in most games. And he'll like chill on pairs and that's a lot to make sure he doesn't get in a bad spot. So yeah, I think it's just really consistent. I feel like even before winning this cup, he's really consistent in like getting final lobbies or getting close to the final lobby, which I think a lot of players respect him for that. Like in one of the first cups last set, he was really close to winning, right? And yeah.
Something I want to say about Darth is like, I feel like he's super, like, I don't want to say like stubborn, but like confident. Like if he knows something's good, he's like 100% sure it's good. And if he knows something's ass, he's like 100% sure something's ass. Like I think one of my memories is he'll be like arguing with Philip about what line to take or what augment to take. He'll say what he thinks, and then Philip will say what he thinks, and he'll just say, "Oh." He's like, "Oh, okay." It's like I hear what you're saying, but I think you're wrong. Basically, is what I'm hearing from their conversation. So it's just like I think that's a really important skill to have in TFT because like if you spend too much time hesitating at important moments of the game, you're going to lose a lot of EV there. So I think that's definitely something that's a disadvantage.
So I want to move on to this top 3, and it's very interesting because there is a big jump in star ranking between this top 3 and the rest of the field. And I think we all know who's number 1, but I want to leave it unknown for now because I want to talk about the star ranking of that individual in a second. But without further ado, here's our 2nd and 3rd place on our rankings, and they are tied at 9, and that is Maikel and Dish Soap. The most notable story here is that Maikel being on Dish Soap level is this. I mean, the run is incredible, but this is a whole new level of respect for Maikel.
Who wants to take it? Who wants to talk about Maikel and Dish? I mean, I just want to drop a little bit and then I'll throw it over to you two, which is that if you are Dish and you are 2nd going into the rankings, and then you place 3rd at the Bilgewater Cup, and then you don't technically move down, but you're not uncontested 2nd anymore. And Maikel going 2nd in his cup obviously is, a big reason for that. But this is a very, very big step in like the shift of how things are seen, because at least for me, and maybe this is just my North American bias, I always kind of felt like that top 3 was untouchable. Like, I know Ripple kind of referenced Melee earlier, talking about him playing Falco. We never really had this like 5 gods era like that they had in Melee, but we kind of did. Like Setsuko, Weijin Iverson, Dish Soap, and there was an argument for a big 4 with Free Replay when he was truly in form and playing the game. It did feel like even when other players were going on monumental runs, it was hard to ever displace those players. And I definitely don't think anyone ever thought they would be displaced by a non-North American. Maikel, of course, has been a household name in TFT for so long, but still I always felt like there was a difference between being a legend in Latin America and being a legend in the Americas. And I think that Maikel being put number 2 here in a panel primarily consisting of the TPC players themselves is a landmark achievement in TFT that cannot be understated. I know I said I'll say a little thing and I'll hand it over, and then I talked a long time. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I interacted with Maikel a lot. Before the merge, it was sort of like you would never really see this guy unless you went to Worlds and you played against him at Worlds. But ever since the merge, it's sort of felt like he's been in like multiple final lobbies, always contesting the number 1 spot to go to Worlds just based off Pro Circuit points, which is like sort of something you can't overlook when you're doing these power rankings at this point. It's been almost 2 whole sets. And once again, he's, contesting the #1 overall point earners. So it's sort of like, yeah, he can obviously hang with the big dogs. So definitely think he deserves to be there.
Yeah, does he have he has one of the most final lobbies in America's TPCs, right?
He has 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And
he's one of
someone have more?
A handful in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's also just a really cool guy. I mean, I studied with him in one of the sets, the charm set, and I feel the passion and energy he has for TFT is crazy. Yeah, it's I remember when he won last set, hearing him pop off was oh, it was super cool. And it definitely shows in how he plays and how much he plays and grinds and stuff.
He's gone 5th and 2nd this set. His 2nd in pro points is the only one that is really close to overtaking Weijin in that spot. It very much one of the favorites too, and being 4 out of 5 in the TPC is just an incredible level of consistency that not many can say that they have. And so to be given a flat 9 ranking here, though, means that it's not just about results, because we see Soju has 4 out of 5 as well, and he's at 7.7, but it's not just that. It's also, hey, you're playing like a beast, and we expect you to continue to play like a beast going into this cup.
I don't want all the attention to just be on Maikel, though, because I don't want Dishope to be seen right now as this Pokemon gym leader who's at some stagnant level that oh yeah, as long as I level up my Pokemon, I can, once I hit level 40, I'll beat this thing easy, right? It's not that Maikel is getting good enough that he's oh yeah, now I'm just beating Dishope. I felt it was mainly just from Twitter, Dishope posting about him not going as far as he wanted to. There's something about Dishope this set that feels way more alive than the Dishope of right after he won TAC Crown, and everyone's kind of seeing him clearly feeling burnout and talking about that and be vocal about it. It feels right now like Dishope is alive and well and is very much the contender that we saw when he won 2 TAC Crowns. I would not be surprised at all if Dishope takes all of this that's going on, barely comes out up short, misses the cup win. Weijin Iverson wins again, the golden boy of the Americas. Everyone's talking about him, and it's just fuel for the fire. I don't know. I'm just saying things, but I feel Dishope is going to do something crazy. I can feel it in the air. I think it's coming. I think he's winning something.
Let me add more fuel. You ready? Dishope, you placed 3rd. You went down in star ranking. I don't know how that's possible, but for some reason 3rd isn't good enough. So, we got to do better, I guess. I'm sorry, I don't get it, but that's where we're at.
I feel that must have been because people are just only one person can get the 10 now. And
okay.
The 10 before.
Look at that. That was a good segue. That was good. You get a raise. Let's talk about rank 1, because it is Weijin Iverson, as probably everyone in the world could guess. But do you guys think it is a 10?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think it's perfect ranking? Perfect rating?
It's gotta be.
Unless there's a hater out there.
Gangly, what do you think? I mean, but
I know. I already know, so don't make me answer.
Tell us in the comments what you thought it was, because it is not. It is not a
Who was
solid
it?
10.
Dude, that's the question. Do we out them? Do we out the panelists?
This is what I will say. I'll say this.
No, I don't think we should. Don't.
No, I'm not saying names. Not saying names. Okay. There were 2 people that rated him a 9. And they were both North Americans. That's what I'll say. There are 2 people that were no, not good enough. Sorry. You're not going to get, you're not the perfect
Jack.
player. Yeah. And they're both here. I'm just kidding. And there's 3 panelists on this. Anyway. Not quite getting the 10. I don't know if we'll ever get a 10 then, because when do you ever, how could you, anyway. it's going to be impossible to get a 10, it would seem, unless you win the next one also. So Weijin, go ahead, man. Got to do it. Got to prove the haters wrong.
Was he like on? Okay, I did just check. Like the only reason I could see someone like ranking him not a 10 is if they went on lol chess and saw that he happened to be on a downswing that day or something. Is he playing on an alt or is he playing on his main at the moment? Do you guys know?
I think he was streaming on his main, but like most of the tier 1 players just mostly play scrims.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like ladder is like not like, I mean, it's still a decent indicator. I mean, there's definitely big gaps in LB between certain players, but Weijin's still maintaining around that like
1500 or
range. But I think he's mostly just playing scrims.
He's trying to farm.
I guess he technically has lost 300 LP in the last week, so maybe that they were just saying, there's something going on. The patch isn't for him. I don't know. I don't get it. I think it's kind of insane to not give Weijin a 10 for winning 2 cups in a row. Like, if not now, then when, right? Like, this is the time to do it.
I do think this is a proper, not necessarily in between the two people, but a proper like gap between him and the rest of the field of 0.91 is really significant between the two. And we can go back to talking about like the Disho point of like, how did his star ranking go down? It's like, well, now you're just comparing to what Weijin has done. Maybe that's what is the problem. So if Weijin's the 10, then Disho has to be a 9. That kind of idea. It just makes it a little bit, the psychology of I can't put these guys in the same level, so Disho has to be a 9. He's got to be the next one down.
Yeah, like if we introduced a 0.5 system, like if there was a 9.5, do you think Maikel is given 9.5 by everybody? I think if there was a 0.5, I would expect Disho to actually be above Maikel, just for the things we talked about earlier of like baseline respect from players,
Could definitely see it. Yeah, but that's the conclusion of these rankings. Very interesting rankings, especially heading into this last cup, which is the last one pre-regionals. I'm not sure how we're going to do this for regionals. I'm sure it'll just be TPC.
We haven't talked about it. I have no idea.
We'll definitely talk about it.
Also, can I just say, I just want to put something out there. I'm going to give Jack some flowers here, because when Jack came to me with this idea of doing the star system, Jack, I'm sure you remember him. I was like super against it. I was like, Jack, this is not a good idea. Like, we had a hard enough time getting people to do 15 players for the power rankings for Don't Talk If You Don't Know. And you're expecting people to rank 32 people. It's just not going to happen. And 40 panelists was like a crazy number, having every single player be a part of the rankings. And I was very wrong, because this has been such a fun system to see, have all 32 players included in every single ranking. So yeah, you can go on with your hosting duties, but wanted to give you some props there.
Thank you. It's been fun, and people have been consistent and quick in filling it out. So even people you might not expect to. Just shout out Soju if you're listening. Every time I send it to him, he fills it out like right away. And like that was the person like he's never gonna fill this out. Anyway, he does. So that is the end of the Rolldown Rankings presented by Citadel. I'm super excited, and just creates great conversation. And we'll definitely at the end of the set track like biggest growth of stars, biggest drop, stuff like that. Most respect earned is this is kind of like stars of respect as far as like it goes, which is fun.
We got to do Mario Party rules, where now it's like most time losing to Krugs gets you 1 extra star. It's the bonus stars at the end of the game.
Yeah. Yes, bonus stars.
You get 1 star for being in the Chud Club.
Yes.
Real quick, we are nearing an hour and a half on the show, but I would be remiss to not talk about this while both of these guys are on the show, because they have had success at, obviously the Tactician's Crown is the most consistent big stage, but the biggest party in TFT is the Opens, and will continue to be the Opens. Milala winning the first Open, and Ripple in the most recent one in Paris being in the top 8. So I just want to real quick talk a little bit about what does it look like to succeed at the TFT Open? And real quick, let's do some storytelling here. This is Milala lifting the very first ever belt. At you know where I'm going with this, Nick.
I sure did. It's the first thing I saw. I didn't see it wasn't Milala. This guy.
That's me right there.
I can't.
This was Milala's Milala's moment, but it was also mine. Okay, I had a great time. I was right there in the front row. I had an awesome time. And then when we're in Paris, I'm not in this one, not in this photo, but I was sitting right in front of Ripple's family, and that was quite fun too. So I just want to ask you guys, what does it look like to, one, compete at an open that size, and then two, have success? Like, it's obviously there's a lot of variance in those tournaments with the big cuts, but how did you guys find success, and what do you guys love about these tournaments? Let's start with Ripple, because it's a little bit more of a recent thing for you.
I mean, this is like the most fun tournament of the year for TFT. I think, especially coming from Milala came from Melee, I feel like there's something special about playing in person, right? And also there's something special about playing at the beginning of the set where everything's like not very solved, so you get to like do some cool new stuff. I think like my experience at this tournament, I think I did really well. I'm probably because like we did a lot of prep and stuff. Like we were in early and we're kind of just like boot camping in our hotels, and I actually had a lot less pressure on myself for this one. I feel like, and like Mala talked about earlier, I feel like the difference between having pressure on yourself and expectations like can do a lot to you. For me, like this is kind of like the last tournament of like my like 1 year of like full time TFT. And by the end of the year, I was like, okay, I guess I'm still in the Chud Club, so I'm just gonna go have some fun. And I didn't really have much expectations, especially because like the format was like so brutal, like of how to get to the final lobby or even the next lobbies, right? And I was just like, I'm just gonna take it one game at a time and try to have fun. And that's just kind of what I did, and it just kept going well until the final lobby. But it was like a dream come true for me though to like finally do really well at tournaments, be on like the kind of world stage and represent like my region and stuff. So
those final lobby games were brutal, by the way. That was
yes. No, where's my build? Like where's my void? Like I don't get it.
I went up to Ripple at the end of the event, and I was being really kind of calm and respectful, didn't want to kind of push too much on it. I just go up to Ripple and I'm like, hey man, like I'm sorry it happened. And Ripple's got this like smile on his face instantly, and he's like, I just wasn't the chosen one. That's it. I really respected that. I respected you in that moment for just being able to recognize that TFT is what it is, right? Like there are some days where you're not given the spots to succeed, and you just got to make the most of what you've got. I know earlier you kind of talked about how you give yourself credit for being able to bail yourself out of tough games, and we got to see some of those on display. I remember like it's like the Shadow Isles salvage bin game that you're playing. It's like, man, like I don't know how anybody is trying to play a game like this, especially like in a top 8 scenario. And it's just like that day you very clearly were not given the cards to win the event, but it was still an honor to be able to see you up on stage and represent us. So yeah, it was cool.
Ripple may not have been the chosen one that day, and it happens, especially in Checkmate. Kind of does feel that way, but definitely the chosen one, and probably the person that like the marketing of these events revolves around. Milala, you were the first winner. You held down the fort for all the Americans that were in the crowd in Vegas for this first one. Tell us about what it was like in that tournament, being the very first open, and then what has it been like since, because now you present the belt to the winner, or like you like part of the ceremony in the beginning and all these things. Is this what you expected to come of this?
No, definitely not. I mean, obviously, like ever since I was competing and ever since I've been like a little boy, I've always just loved playing video games. So I always just wanted to like win something, and being able to lift that belt in front of everyone. Like my mom was watching the celebration, and she was like, "Wow, you actually look so happy," like and like stuff like that. But I mean, like, the crazy thing about these tournaments is, like, in the first round, I barely made it out. I was 1 point above fourth place in my lobby, who was like a Master Zero LP player. And each round, I feel like I was just playing against some North American Titan, like Robin, and then like DQA and stuff. And even in the last day, it's like so much. Like, if Kevin Parker Yone didn't do exactly that, Broccoli would have won, or like Kevin Parker would have won. And like, just so many things have to go right in order for whoever wins this tournament to win. It does feel like, yeah, you just got to be the chosen one. And, you know, lucky for me, I was the chosen one.
And then continued to be the chosen one for the KDA Cup, and then almost for regionals, and then for Worlds as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. These events just create great stories. And both of you being a part of those stories is just fun. And so obviously we had to bring that up on the show because we're not the next Open won't be for a while, but it is back in Vegas, which means Milala should win again because it's once again a music set, and you know we said this earlier that's when you'll be in your peak again. So, yeah, it'll be a great time. We're gonna wrap up the show by talking about real quick about our fantasy draft because this is the last opportunity for anyone in this competition to earn points, especially those who need it. Mostly me. But also Gangly, because chat is clearing us. Milala, make us feel better about our teams. What did?
No. Stop it.
On.
Stop saying our. I already feel good. I don't need Milala. I don't need Milala at all. I feel fantastic about my team.
Unfortunately for Gangly, he has milk.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say.
Yep. I did go out on a limb, by the way. I had a very spicy 1, 2, 3, where I had a very spicy 1 and 3, and thus far it has. I mean, my 1, 2, 3 compared to every other team's 1, 2, 3 is looking a little bit weak. But I think no, you're good.
Wow,
See,
you're a Ripple hater. That's crazy.
Here's the thing. You could look at this in a way where I'm actually winning, because the only reason that I don't have like 600 points right now is because the first tournament was a 1-day patch, and Ripple and Darth each were supposed to make final lobby that day. And again, I misunderstood Milk's tweet, and I thought he was back, or I thought he was coming back. And so if you remove everybody's thing, right? If you remove a little bit of points from everyone across the board, and then you assume it's not a 1-day patch, I actually feel like my team is probably winning right now. So I'm feeling pretty good.
Yep.
That's it.
Math checks out.
Also, don't you think that you should judge someone's fantasy team based on like 4, 5, 6? I feel like 4, 5, 6 drafts are the most skill expressive, because there's enough people left in the pool that you have to make an actual decision. But the obvious answers have already been drafted out, right? Like, isn't me drafting Darth, Bosso, and CMB just an insane display of skill?
You're hurting my head.
That actually makes sense.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
It's like when all the easy picks are gone, then you actually have to find the value picks.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah, but what about 9, 10, 11? Look at my 9, 10, 11. Piyun, Chunnington, Fanakiki? Come on now. Wait.
I mean, if Milk is anyone else, I'm right up there with you. If you pretend Milk is someone else.
It's true. That's true. I mean, yeah, clearly chat is clearing us. I don't know why we both let Wasian slip. Anyway, I mean,
I was trying to
so
be
hard
dramatic.
going into the season.
It was my fault.
And then Maikel is actually just carrying chat. Let's be honest. That's probably the best value pick that is here. So, you know, we'll just keep wallowing and making fun of ourselves and not believing in Quinta either. You know, it's fine. It's fine. We'll keep it updated. But without further ado, let's head to the You Are Here graphic, which I didn't move again, but here we go. Right there, right before the Damacia Cup coming up, the very last event on the calendar before the regional finals. I don't know how this moved this fast. All of a sudden, we blinked and we're here. And it's time for the postseason. And so Milala and Ripple will both be in the regional finals. Right now, Milala will be in week 1, starting on March 7th. And Ripple, to be determined if you're March 7th or March 13th. So
Maybe
we'll
March
hopefully
6th?
see this weekend
Who
soon.
knows?
Maybe.
Could be
I
March
hope-
6th.
I hope
be March
Ripple
6th.
makes it to week 1 so we can grind it out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hopefully
go.
not week 2. Hopefully not week 2.
Be a homie together.
Thanks for the support.
And I can't wait when Ripple makes it to the Tactician's Crown and I can put out a tweet just like no longer in the Chud Club. You know?
That's
gonna
what
be
I'm waiting
great.
for.
Yeah. It'll be fantastic.
He'll make it to Worlds, and I'll put out a tweet saying CLE is rolling in his grave right now.
Am I dead?
Yeah.
What happened?
I mean, the shock of seeing the player you hate more than anything else find success.
Yeah.
The darkest horse.
Pure shark to your
America's.
system.
The dark horse rises. Anyway, well, I want to thank both of you for coming on the show. Just a fun time to recap Tactician's Cup 2 and look forward to what's ahead. Continue to look forward to you guys competing. Ripple, good luck this weekend. Obviously, it's a big weekend for Pro Points, so definitely hoping that you get a solid finish to get you into that weekend too. But for Milala's sake, maybe not. He doesn't want that.
Nope.
He's a hate watcher. But before we sign off, Milala, anything you want to say to the people out there? People want to shout out? Find a closing statement.
No, not really. Just thanks for having me. Thanks for it's a fun show. Thanks to everyone who supports me. Yeah.
Ripple,
Yeah.
how about you?
Yeah. Thanks for having me on the show. It's been a lot of fun talking. I told Gangly I really wanted to go on his podcast one day. It's been a long time. And yeah, thanks for the study group. Everyone supports me. Also, I wanted to add on the land stuff. I feel like something I talked to a lot about for fun is that I feel like we actually had one of the most giga stacked semifinals lobbies in lands. You go back to we met up with Maikel in Paris. And we were the lobby before the final lobby in Vegas. It was me, Walla, Maikel, Canvas, Double. It was crazy. Phoenix, yeah. I was maybe I got put in a different semi-final lobby, but we got better. But it's all good.
Gangly, anything from you to close this out?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to Milala and Ripple for coming on the show. Love talking to the both of you. And if anyone who is watching this happens to be in the San Jose area this weekend, I'm going to be at Genesis, which is to many people it's a Smash tournament. Used to be, it's still it's kind of the Super Bowl of Smash. We've talked a little bit on the show how Milala, Ripple, and I all used to be Melee players once upon a time. But I'll be there all weekend. I work for the event doing some video and content stuff, so I'll be out there. So if anyone happens to be at Genesis, let me know. I'd love to come say hi. I'll be walking the floor with the camera pretty much all weekend. Maybe I'll be playing some Riftbound. I'm going to try and get into their side event maybe on Friday. And then I'll have to catch up on all the VODs of TPC, probably just on my flight home. So hopefully I'll wake up to a nice little surprise.
Yeah, it's going to be a good weekend of TFT. Sadly, we don't have, morning to evening TFT this time because of the mix of cups, but, still a good time. And excited to see the storylines that come out this weekend. But thank you to all those who watch the podcast and have stuck around this long. If you haven't yet, please follow, subscribe, comment, do all the things to help us with this podcast. You guys are fantastic in supporting and showing up time and time again to follow along with the competitive TFT scene. And obviously, the people that watch make this thing happen. So I'm super thankful. So without further ado, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time.